Hi, this is Leighton Jim. I'm the Director of Development for the American Documentary and Animation Film Festival. We have a very, very, very special guest, a friend of mine, Angela Sun, we are both in the journalism world and specifically sports journalism, but Angela is so much more. We're a friend, but I feel like I'm more of a fanboy than a friend because she does so many things. And every time I see her, she has these great projects and amazing stuff. And one of the amazing projects she has is her new documentary. Angela, I'm going to let you introduce your documentary, which will be at AmDocs this year.
Thank you so much, Lillian. It's so fun to talk to you in this realm since we've, talked in the sports journalism realm and through AAJA and everything. My documentary is called Guardians of Sea Country, Restoring the Reef. And it's a short documentary film about modern science and the intersection of modern science and indigenous knowledge and culture coming together collaboratively to help save the Great Barrier Reef.
I mean, and we were talking a little bit off screen, but it's
Mhm.
such a remarkable thing where you're talking about the indigenous people and their traditions with the science and combining them to find a better path to save the barrier reef. Can you talk about that? Because it's funny when you mentioned it, it crossed my mind that sometimes they don't combine, or but this one they are, and it seems like that's so beneficial, but sometimes it gets missed out. Is that right or wrong perception?
I think a lot of the times when people have good intentions, especially scientists who are trying to do good or, just conservationists, they don't really look to the past to help with the future. And so this is looking at the ancient past and how that can help our future. And the knowledge that these First Nations peoples brings, they've been around for 65,000 years, so like their culture and their knowledge has been passed down through generations, and they've been able to live off the land, take care of the land. And they call the land country and sea country. And so it is really a kind of honoring of these peoples, and not you can talk about it in a broader terms too, of just in general in the environmental documentary space. A lot of the times we talk about like a lot about the innovations and things that we're doing to combat things like global warming and coral restoration or whatnot. This one specifically, but uh, paying homage and also listening to the elders of the land, and this focuses on First Nations people. It's very hard for me to pronounce. I'm just not going to pronounce all the different um, first the traditional owner groups there, but there are so many, and there's so many different ones. But really honoring just what they know and what they've been brought up with, and also bringing in this new technology, new modern science, whether it be from Coral IVF to, which is like a whole thing, Coral IVF. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't. What is that?
It's basically like helping corals spawn and helping them procreate. Um,
Oh,
so
wow.
IVF for corals. But there's
Oh,
also yeah, just the Mars Reef Stars. They use these apparatuses to anchor and create kind of artificial reefs, and then put on broken pieces of coral, and it helps them grow. So that's brought on by modern scientists coming in, but then also weaving in these traditional stories and the knowledge that they bring of like the tidal changes and times of the year, and uh, just there's so much that's happened on native land. And you know as we all know, like we're all not natives, right? I mean, unless you're from the land. So I just think that so many times we forget that, whether it be from the Australian perspective or from the US or from any kind of first world, nation. if
mhm.
if you're not looking kind of to the past, I think you're missing a big point of how we can conserve for the future.
How did you come across this topic, and at what point the evolution where you were learning about it and you thought it'd be a great documentary for you?
Well, the funny thing is, like, it's kind of been like a seed planted in my head for a long time. I studied abroad in Australia ages ago, and I was fascinated. my focus was in communications, but and reef science. So I did a course and did some research on Lady Elliot Island, which is like the southern part of the reef, and I spent a week out there. But what really struck me when I was visiting up and down the East Coast was the story of just the why. Literally, I read this book called "Why Weren't We Told," and it was about First Nations peoples and what happened to Aboriginal Indigenous people of the land, and why weren't we told about this? This isn't a news story in the sense that it's happened everywhere, in Canada and the U.S. and a lot of people being displaced by their lands and displaced from their lands, right?
Mhm.
But it really struck me and it kind of like planted the seed in me 25 years ago when I was studying abroad. So I was wee bit small, right? I was a toddler, right? No. But
Pretty much, right?
25, yeah, so a long time ago, when I was studying abroad there, that was the seed. And then I've always thought about it, but like it never presented itself in an opportunity. And I had the opportunity actually to go back to, I mean, I've gone back to Australia many times. I have friends there and it's one of my happy places in the world. And I've had the fortunate opportunity to do so in different respects. With my other documentary or visiting friends or whatnot. And um, in last 2024, I got invited to go check out Bluey's World and take my family to go check out the new Bluey's World. I don't know if you know about the Australian the dog cartoon.
Oh, oh,
Bluey
I
is
don't.
like the it's like the number. I mean, why would you? It's like I mean, unless you have like midgets running around your house, like no need. But it is the number one stream show in the U.S. Because it's on Disney. It's Bluey. It's like this Australian cattle dog and his family. So they opened up a big Bluey's World. So we went to go visit, and when we were there, so I got invited to go check that out. And I was like, well, since I'm here, um, I did spend a lot of time in Cairns. I was there in the beginning of the COVID pandemic and was there for 6 weeks. So I got to spend a lot of time up in Cairns, and I remember meeting people up there and stuff. And so I was like, I've always wanted to do a documentary on something with the Great Barrier Reef. And so when I learned about these First Nations led efforts to help revive the reef or do these science expeditions, I was like, oh, I really want to go check it out. And lo and behold, you can do it. Like you and I, like anyone, it's like a sustainable tourism effort. Like you can sign up and go on a tour and go and help actually put these coral fragments on, learn about what they're doing out there, and be like a little slice of, helping out. And I think every time you visit the Great Barrier Reef too, they there's a reef authority and like they do a lot to try to protect the reef as much as possible, but like your tourism dollars actually help to protect the reef. There's so many different foundations. I worked with the Great Barrier, or I spoke to the Great Barrier Reef Foundation. That was one of them, and Reef Recruits. They were in the film, but there's just a lot of cool groups up there who are helping try to save this. It's like one of the largest living features on our planet. Like you could see it from space. And it's one of the seven wonders of the world. So I feel like if that's going through mass coral bleaching and it's like literally warming up and all the corals are disappearing, or like there's just a lot of not bad information, but there's like a lot of gloom and doom about our environment. Like I wanted to present a hopeful story of resilience and how we can kind of fight against this and give people an outlet where you can be a part of it too. That's
Um,
a long answer.
no, it's a great answer. It's a great answer. Um, what's it been like to kind of share this experience of making this documentary now that you're a mother and with your son maybe experiencing some of it and your chance to kind of share your passion with him on the environment in the documentary because he went with you to Australia and was kind of
Yeah.
I assume the trip was for him if it's Bluey.
Yeah,
But
what's funny? He's so lucky. I would call him a lucky ducky because I was just like, most people go on the Finding Nemo ride. Like, you're at Nemo's house. So it was funny when we were up there. He was like, is this Nemo's house? Like, where's Nemo? Because we were on those underwater submarine things so he could go check it out. I'm like, look, there's baby shark. look, there's Nemo, there's Dory, and like you're seeing them in the wild, which is pretty amazing. But like I'm like, this is not a normal toddler experience. This is not normal to just be petting a koala, in Australia or whatnot. Um, so I try to remind him about that. But I think in terms of what it's like for me, um, I love seeing the world through his eyes, and
Mhm.
it's just like this childlike innocence and wide-eyed like he's just enamored with everything. Everything is new, everything exciting. um it makes me want to protect it even more, but I was always like, even before having kids, I was had lots of nieces and nephews, and it was always like, how do we protect our environment for the next generation? How do we preserve what we're seeing now so that they can show their kids, or like, that we can pass this on, so we're not passing on like, you know I don't know, it's like dead reefs, like dead
Mhm.
environment. Like I just think it's so vibrant. We've lost so many animals to extinction and for deforestation and all these things that's like, I feel like, how can you not care
Mhm.
if you're a mom, I guess.
Right.
But just in general, like I mean, like I don't think you have to be a mom. I just think it reinforces it more.
Right. Yeah, I just wonder sometimes because when we go through life, there's certain moments where we are in our life, it affects how you see things, and so these different phases. I was kind of curious about that. Now let's talk about your first film. Well, I don't know if it was your first film. I can take it back, but it was the first one I was aware of. I was blown away because I knew you in the sports world, and then
Oh
you're
yeah.
telling me that you're doing Plastic Paradise,
Hmm.
and that was pretty amazing film. He had a lot of great support. Can you reflect back on that experience, and was there anything from that influenced or helped you with this project?
You know what's funny? That's a crazy question because I was asked like, "Oh, when are you going to come out with the second one? When's the sophomore one coming out?" And I was so burnt out from that that I just and I was scared. I was like, well, what if the first one was received well, but the second one's not going to be received well? And you kind of always are second guessing or self-doubting, because it's kind of your creative IP and your vision going out to the
Mhm.
world, and you have no idea how it's going to be received. Um, so there was a bit of pressure. There was also, I guess, I think for me, yeah, like it's great to chase passion projects. And I think, as you know, in journalism has changed a lot. But
Mhm.
also, I did love, I mean, I still do love being in journalism and being a part of, telling great stories. And I think that a couple opportunities came up to go back into that. And so I did those, one with the Oakland A's and then the other with Spectrum News in LA.
Mhm.
Um, so I kind of skirted around doing another like independent doc for a long time. And finally I was just like, like it was kind of like the synergy of all things happening where I was like, okay, well, I'm here. I have extra days. Let's go do this. Like, let's just make it happen. I've always wanted to do this. Like, when else am I going to do it? So kind of seizing that opportunity and trying to like get together everything that I could in a quick time frame, and then coming back and then going sifting through the footage and figuring it out. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
that's part of it, though. I mean, I'm not a filmmaker like you, but I mean that to me, that's part of it. It's when you get that inspiration because
Hmm.
it's not a news story where you do it one day, then you go on to the next one and forget about the last one. This is something you live for a long time, and I'm sure for you, it has to be something that triggers you and inspires you
Yeah.
and motivates you. And I know that could be hard to find. I wonder if that was. I mean, because this one, I could tell she's talking about how passionate you are about this topic and
Well,
it's a new
I
film.
also think too, like, you can't be what you can't see, right? Like,
Right.
so, um, I think my hope was that, or my hope is still that, taking this back over there, hopefully, and showing like, traditional owner kids, like that this is something that is something that you could be proud of and also be a part of too. Like they can become, I mean, they are caretakers of the land and sea, but like in roles that are like, leadership roles and respected. And just seeing people rise up and seeing these younger generations like be like, oh yeah, that's, um, my dad or whatever, like I just feel like so much was taken and stripped away from, people who are native to the land that like if we can uplift and show their stories and like I think really what kind of hit me too was like, in environmental conservation, scuba diving specifically too is very elite, right? It's like skiing. Like it's a big barrier of entry. It's
Hmm.
expensive. You got to get certified, all these things, right, to be able to do these sports or, and or having those opportunities. And so I didn't see very many like uh First Nations people or indigenous people in the water, people of color really in the water at all, right?
Right.
Scuba diving and stuff. So when you see one, you're like, wait, what? And then meeting the scientists that are actually, you know, leading the work and doing it, coral restoration work and stuff is so cool. So I hope that the film, even though it is a short, that it will inspire like kind of the younger generation to want to go into environmental science or want to go into this field because we need more of that. But also, you can't be what you can't see. So hopefully, if you see it on the screen, and this that's the same. Like we both know working in sports journalism and seeing another Asian in sports, you're like, wait, what?
Right.
And now look, like there's so
Oh,
many.
yeah.
There's different outlets now. There's different people leading the way, and like it's so fun to see it grow. Obviously, there's always room for growth in
Hmm.
any respect of representation, but hopefully to show that we are more of a colorful world than not.
Right. Well, I mean, it's great they bring it up because I really do feel like you're a pioneer for our community, the Asian American community. I mean, you accomplished so
Oh,
much on
thank
such a
you.
high level, and I was excited when we so to give some people some background on me and Angela, we were both founding members of the Sports Task Force, which is part of the Asian American Journalists Association. It was in DC. I was excited that you were a part of it. I was excited Kevin Nagandi was a part of it, and we just have so many great people. And when we started it, it was hard to even get fellow Asian Americans to support each other. We were kind of dispersed in our own organization. Then we all kind of
Mhm.
came together. We thought it would be great that if we got together to support each other, support our work, because I think sometimes we got lost in the crowd, and then just through that it just started growing and growing. We're seeing more people have more opportunities, and we see more people get in with really great jobs right out of college, which kind of pisses me off, Angela, because I had to bust my butt through these smaller markets, and these guys are going to these big markets. But that's beside the point. But what I mean is just like I feel like that's kind of a part of a legacy that we both started. I know that's kind of your DNA that you've been a pioneer for this for your work as for conservation, but also with journalism and sports journalism, and we're just trying to make the field more inclusive. Can you can you talk to me about that? And because you've done it in a lot of ways, by just inspiring us. See, I think I told her before, I think I was gonna be a little bit of a fanboy, but you inspired all of us. I've seen you in all these great things, Yahoo Sports Minute, Court Report for Tennis Channel. You're on ESPN. You're uh 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 was it
I did
Ninja
Ninja
Warrior?
Warrior.
I just went blank
I
on the
didn't
first
actually
part.
do it. I didn't
Oh
actually,
no,
I
no,
didn't
you were the
actually,
sideline reporter,
I
right?
was, yeah, yeah, yeah. I wasn't
Yeah.
competing.
Yeah. Well, you could have, but you're in all these places, and it was just really great to see someone who looks like me killing it
Oh,
and inspiring. And I mean, I said this, Michael Kim, but you definitely fit this role. There's one point I didn't think I could be in sports journalism, but then I saw Michael when he started going to ESPN. I was like, maybe I should hold on. Maybe things are changing, and then
yeah.
and that's the same with you. And then you see kind of the doors that open and opportunities that's created for a lot of people.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I definitely feel like small, you know, like a group of, like it's a small piece of this kind of evolution of
mhm,
more inclusivity in the sports journalism world and sports in general. it's super exciting to see like even just right now with Olympics and stuff, saying Chloe Kim,
Yeah.
like it's just all of these women and Asians in sports excelling at the highest of levels. Again, like I think it goes back to that just that idea of you can't be what you can't see, and hopefully, like I mean, I would like to continue storytelling, and I think that's what I'm passionate about is like telling stories that are fully inclusive, diverse, and just a different angle because that's the angle we know, right? Like
Hmm.
that's what you know. Like I know there's some trend right now of like becoming Chinese or like a Chinese baddie or whatever on social media with the young kids. And you kind of can take it two different ways, right? But
Right.
you're like, this is cultural appropriation or what? Or is this appreciation? Like, what is this? But there's this trend going on, and I was like, well, that's like our lived experience. So you can only live in your own experiences. And so if I could champion for others,
Hmm.
um, like the way that certain mentors and people champion for me, like I feel like that's almost like your duty as somebody in journalism or, even like I taught at LMU and I was so proud of my spring students who um, I helped them with their film festival submissions and stuff, and then they won Best Audience Award at one, and with their
Oh.
short film, and just seeing them flourish and grow, like, and investing in that next generation is so fun and
Mhm.
so rewarding and enriching, and hopefully, like, we can continue to tell these stories because, as you can see now, with the state of mainstream media and what's going on in the world and kind of this breakdown of sorts, it's hard to decipher truth,
Hmm.
right? And
Right.
bias and who do you listen to and what's actually fact and everything's like skewed. And so I feel like it's more important than ever that we fight for journalism, independent journalism, storytellers in general, documentaries, because I feel like documentaries really get the breadth and depth of things because these people who are directing, creating, producing them are you have to be passionate because it's not for the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you ain't in documentaries for money.
Or
So
journalism.
yeah, true. That too. That too. Right? So it's almost like we all like it's like a shared sense of needing justice or like fighting for justice. But I think birds of a feather, like that's what we do, what we do.
Now, what do you think about the changing landscape? You touched on it. Journalism is getting really tough, and traditional journalism, there's been such a downgrade. Where does documentaries fit in this ever-changing landscape? To me, I see it as maybe a salvation because documentaries. People think about feature length, but you did a short, and we have documentaries as short as 3 minutes. There's AmDocs with the New York Times, which gives people a chance. And with cell phones, anyone can make a documentary.
Hmm.
Everyone has a voice, and we're trying to give them a platform at AmDocs. Where do you see documentaries fitting into the journalism world these days, and just giving people good information to be better informed?
I think documentaries are essential to telling great stories. And I think that it's great that there's a platform like AmDocs that can, showcase them. And I feel like the people who are going to seek this out are already people who are reading a lot or, people who are invested, involved in whatever topics they want to learn about and they want to learn more. And so I think that it's totally important to support festivals like AmDocs and also just to support filmmakers who want to create this. It's obviously changed a lot and it's going to continue to change, and everyone is sort of short form minded because you got to keep your, before you swipe up, like you got to keep your attention. It's like you can't get the first 3 seconds, then you're out, and we're always in this like all consuming social media world where you're made to fit or the algorithm is made to keep you in and cycling in these like silos of what you only know or what you believe in. I think it's super dangerous, and I think it's important to step outside that box and also be around people and like be in real life with people. And I think that comes with the community that festivals bring and that um, screenings, like together bring. Like, yes, of course you could watch it on a phone and you could watch it like by yourself on a screen or whatever, or on your airplane or whatever. But I think if you can bring people together and foster that community, and have discussions about things and really provoke thinking, I think that's something that we continue to need even more so in this like digital world that we're living in. Um, and I don't have a great answer for the way journalism is going. I
Hmm.
just think that I hope people support independent journalism. I hope people like is very upsetting to hear about the Washington Post laying off so many people, or just a lot of these newsrooms being shrinking and to do more with less
Hmm.
and less resources. And people, you need to have like a supportive newsroom, and you need to have like an ecosystem that works to be able to tell truth. But like they say, democracy dies in darkness. Like you
Right.
gotta keep sharing and you gotta keep talking and conversing with people. And I think it's great to be conversing with people that are different than you or
Hmm.
think differently than you, because otherwise we live in these silos where you just kind of like believe what you believe and that's it, and you keep getting fed that in this algorithm and your social media feeds and stuff. And how do you break out of that except for to step outside the box into real life?
Right. Boy, that was so well said, Angela. This is
It
this is
was
why I'm
it?
such
I
a
don't even
fanboy of you.
know. I don't even know. It just kind of came out. Like I don't really
No,
know what I'm talking about, but I just think
no.
that we're all in it together. So like I
Hmm.
think it's important that we support each other. And also um I am just I guess a fan, a student, whatever you call it,
Hmm.
of great storytelling. And I think there's
Hmm.
some great storyteller. And you're right. Like you have a phone, like literally people are shooting things on their phone. And I tell this to my students too, like, um, you don't you don't need fancy equipment anymore. Like you
Right.
just need to have a good story. And literally your small device
Hmm.
can do it. And I don't think people want glossy because they get glossy from AI, right?
Right.
Um,
Oh yeah.
or Yeah, that's a whole different topic. But
Exactly.
you can get the glossy whatever, fancy blockbustery stuff. They want real, authentic connection.
Hmm.
And how do you tell that in a way that is relatable, um, where people want to, you know, understand more, whether it be a culture, whether it be conservation, whether it be, you know, um, I don't know, a topic that you just don't know about. Like,
Hmm.
I just think learning, people shouldn't stop learning. And I think I am totally culprit of it myself. Like, I sometimes just doom scroll and then you just get stuck in the same thing. You get fed more
Right.
stuff because you just get doom scrolling and you're like, oh my God, I hate life. I gotta just shut it down. Um,
Right.
and you
But you
gotta
know
go,
what?
literally go touch grass, right?
I think we were at a point at one point for a small moment. We were at a point where social media and journalism was at this really interesting spot, and that's when Twitter was there because then you had people who were boots on the ground who were showing you stuff that was on boots on the ground. So like when you had the stories, you got even a deeper texture, and I love that. Um, I'm going off the topic here a little bit, but I mean
Well,
that's why
I,
I
I
try
mean,
to
I think
encourage.
documentary and journalism go together, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
you are documenting, and obviously there's a bit more pliable or artistry in
Hmm.
telling the story through a documentary lens, because you could tell
Hmm.
it in very many different ways,
Hmm.
artistically. Um, but it's also, it's hard to get eyeballs. It's hard because you're like, I felt like with my first film, I was like an indie musician, like pre Patreon, like just like out there pedaling with my DVDs, carrying my like, here's some merch. Like, do you want a Q&A? Like speaking at schools and stuff. And like, it has unfortunately and fortunately aged well. Like it's still like the film itself about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and plastic in our bodies and our oceans is still relevant. Like we're still
Hmm.
talking about it today.
Yeah.
So, um, for what it's worth, like I do feel like hearing from the community, hearing from people post screenings and stuff, that really kept me going. And it still
Mhm.
does. Like, they're like, oh, I changed my major, or like, or, because I saw your film, or like, oh, I changed something because I saw it. And I think that's every filmmaker, documentary filmmaker's goal is
Mhm.
maybe to change hearts and minds, or win hearts and minds, whatever it is, or maybe just entertain for a little bit,
Yeah.
um you know something, just, yeah, something new that you didn't know before, and the more you know.
Well, we're running out of time. I wish we had more time, Angela, but I'm so glad we were able to do this. I mean, I was happy to talk to you and just kind of share some of our passions. And I'm so excited that you're going to be here. I think everyone here is going to love your film, and they're going to love you too.
Oh, thank you.
So
I'm
can't wait to
very
see
excited. Thank you,
you.
Leighton, for chatting. And yeah, I'm so excited to be there. I love film festivals and connecting with people, and I think AmDocs is doing such a great job and bringing us all together. So I
Well,
appreciate you guys.
thank you, Teddy. So reminders, March 25th to 29th at the Palm Springs Cultural Center. Go to www.amdocfilmfest.com for tickets. And we look forward to seeing you there. And you'll get to meet extraordinary people like Angela. Angela, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Leighton. Thanks for having me.